Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Monday, October 13, 2025. And in the news this evening, man and his dog chopped to death in Manchester. A Manchester farmer was chopped to death in Kenwood district near Mile Gully on Sunday night. The man's dog was also butchered by his attacker. The deceased man has been identified as Cheyenne Young, otherwise called Shane, a resident of Epping Forest Comfort Hall in Manchester. A police report said about 9 p.m., residents in Kenwood district stumbled on Young's body on the roadway. Police were alerted and detectives saw what appeared to be multiple chop wounds all over Young's body. He was pronounced dead at hospital. Suspect in Central Kingston drive-by killed. Victim succumbs to injuries, says police. One of the main suspects in last Tuesday's mass shooting in Central Kingston has been shot and killed by the police. He has been identified as Joshua Lawrence, otherwise called Southie. According to Acting Commissioner of Police Michael Phipps, Lawrence was fatally shot during an intelligence-led operation on Monday on 28 Maiden Street, Kingston 16. He said Lawrence was believed to be a top-tier member and the main shooter for the Wellis Kelly gang, which operates out of Eastern Kingston. He was also wanted by the Kingston Eastern Police in connection with several serious crimes, including the July 2025 murder of Crown witness Lisa Harris along Bree Street, Kingston 16. In the meantime, Phipps also confirmed that one of the individuals who was injured in the shooting has succumbed to his injuries. He has been identified as Jador Campbell, who died on Saturday. Campbell was among several people, including children, who were shot at the intersection of Charles Street and Texter Lane during the attack last Tuesday. There have been no other fatalities in the incident. The police are urging the remaining suspects involved in the October 7 shooting to report to the Kingston Central Criminal Investigations Branch by 6 p.m. on Tuesday, October 14, 2025. ACP Phipps says his team remains committed to pursuing all suspects linked to the attack and the other serious crimes in the Area 4 Police Division. Judge orders Norman Scott to be fingerprinted in Election Day assault case. Spanish Town Mayor Norman Scott was ordered to have his fingerprint recorded by the police when he appeared in the St. Elizabeth Parish Court in Santa Cruz on Monday morning. Scott, the defeated People's National Party candidate for St. Elizabeth Southeast in the recent September 3 election, is before the courts after he was charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm and malicious destruction of property following an incident involving Jamaica Labour Party indoor agent Jolie Francis at a polling station, B.B. Cook High School in Junction on Election Day. A police report said that about 12 p.m. on September 3, Scott visited the polling station and stayed a little longer than the allotted time. Police said an agent's attempt to inform him that his allotted time at the facility had already been spent resulted in a commotion. Police said another agent intervened to quell the uproar and was struck to the face by Scott before his security detail removed him from the location. Following the incident, a report was made to the police and an investigation was launched into the matter. Police said summons for the aforementioned offenses were formally served on the mayor on Friday, September 12. When Scott made his first court appearance before Parish Court Judge Steve Walters on Monday, he was represented by attorney at law Charles Ganga Singh. The complainant in the matter, Jolie Francis, was represented by a team of lawyers led by King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson. The lead attorney for Francis said the presiding judge agreed with his request to apply for a fiat to prosecute Scott. When contacted, Ganga Singh declined to comment on the record. Scott is bound over to reappear in the St. Elizabeth Parish Court in Santa Cruz on November 27. Flash flood watch extended for several parishes. The Meteorological Service of Jamaica has extended the flash flood watch for low-lying and flood-prone areas in several southern and northwestern parishes until 8 a.m. on Tuesday, October 14, as unstable weather conditions persist across the island. The parishes under the watch are St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. Elizabeth, and St. James. The Meteorological Service is advising residents, especially those in flood-prone areas, to remain on the alert for possible flooding due to continued showers and thunderstorms. Facility for mental ill prisoners still on hold despite a call for urgent action. 5 years after the Mental Health Offenders Inquiry Committee, commissioned by Chief Justice Brian Sykes, called on the Health Ministry to take urgent action to designate appropriate facilities to hold the hundreds of mentally ill people in conflict with the law being detained in correctional institutions the entity is yet to identify a space. We are still working on a facility for them outside of the prison system for them to be housed in a more humane situation, Consultant Psychiatrist and Director, Mental Health and Substance Use in the Ministry, Dr. Kevin Goulburn, disclosed last week. The committee of 11 individuals included representatives from the judiciary, the Independent Jamaica Council for Human Rights, Bellevue Hospital, the Department of Correctional Services, and the Health and Wellness Ministry, had been tasked to probe the reasons for the failures leading to hundreds of mentally ill people in conflict with the law being detained in correctional institutions, some as many as 5 decades, with half listed as awaiting trial. In the report unveiled in October 2020, the committee said correctional facilities were never designed to focus on the therapeutic needs of mentally ill defendants, and as such, the correctional services have encountered several major challenges in dealing with their housing and care. By law, Bellevue Hospital in Kingston is the designated public psychiatric facility at which mentally ill defendants should be detained. However, this responsibility was shifted to the shoulders of the DCS in the 1970s and has not been redirected. The Ministry of Health needs to take urgent action to designate appropriate facilities for the mentally disordered defendants. These persons have not yet been to trial and have not been found guilty. Correctional facilities are reserved for persons who are serving time, Committee Chair Justice Georgiana Fraser said at the time, while noting that the court should also be given the discretion to place these individuals in a court diversion program. The committee, in its major recommendations, said the improvements being made to the DCS do not cure the failure of successive ministries of health to designate any other psychiatric facility. Last week, Goulburn said this has not been lost on ministry officials. This has been an ongoing issue with mentally ill offenders as to how best to manage these persons, and in the past, we have managed them at the Bellevue Hospital when it used to have a forensic unit, but that doesn't exist any longer. Now we actually have a psychiatric team within the correctional services. One of the problems we were having in the past is that they were not being assessed early enough for them to be processed, Goulburn noted. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.